Kia ora koutou, Jen Tyson, and I've got some hoa mahi with me here today, some colleagues from Narwick, which is, I've got Stacey Mundonza, Kat Ricketts and Alice Carmody, and we are here bringing you this little shout out for International Men's Day. There you go, International Men's Day. Men, you've got a day, and it's the 19th of November, and we thought, what better thing to do than to do what we do naturally, which is encourage and give a bit of a shout out to the tāne in our lives. And each one of us have got a little bit of a thing to say about some important men that have been there along our journeys and helped us to get to where we are or encouraged us. So let's hear from Alice.
Great. Well, my shout out, first of all, is to all the men, I guess, who got us going. We've got a lot more women in the industry, which is awesome, but probably a lot of us getting started might not have had a lot of female mentors. So it was the guys in there leading us and showing us what to do. And especially thankful to the men who are making space and making room for women to come in, pick up these roles and run forward, because we're all in it together. We all get on really well. I don't think there's a divide. We all got to do our jobs and all our works. I really like working with men, but it's really good that we are all able to move forward and everyone can find a place in the construction industry together.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Alice. And right there alongside Alice is Kat Ricketts. Kat is the Wellington chapter chair. So Kat.
Koutou. I was thinking about International Men's Day, and it really brought up all the bosses and the senior leaders that have really stepped up to the plate, going, yeah, not only are they going to hire their first woman ever, they're going to make sure the environment that they're stepping into is welcoming to them and holding space for me, and being able to come onto a construction site and know that I have that backing has just changed my whole career. Those allies have just made my life exponentially easier, and having those guys standing shoulder to shoulder with me has just been amazing, and it's really awesome to be able to have a day to be able to celebrate those guys.
Awesome. And Kat, you've also Alice and Kat of Wellington Committee and Wellington chapter, and we've got a male chapter committee member, and I know that Tamaki Makaurau also have a male chapter member as well, which is pretty cool. So thanks, Kat.
Hi, I'm Stacey, and International Men's Day kind of made me think about how I started into the industry. How did I find it? And made me think about my dad. My dad is a builder, and I spent a lot of time following him up to the sites. He built our second house in his weekends, so somebody needed to go up with Dad, and it was my responsibility to be there for Dad. So I would sit in the site shed while he, after working all week on the building site, then spent his weekends working on a building site as well. But I think what he did is he shared his passion for the industry and his pride, and you know, I can just visualize him so chuffed in all of the houses. In fact, I grew up in Christchurch, and after the earthquake, he visited every house that he built to make sure that that everybody was okay, and he was retired by then. So I think it was my dad who kind of shook me up and showed me that it was possible. But I also have an uncle, Uncle Doug, who was a quantity surveyor, and he was the one who said, hey, you in your sixth form, what are you doing these holidays? Come and work for me and see what I do. And I didn't even know what a quantity surveyor was, and I was able to share his love. His was commercial works, whereas my dad was residential. So I was able to see at quite a young age, I hadn't even left school, the insides of construction, and I knew that that was where I wanted to be. I also have to really have a shout out to my colleagues who have welcomed me, particularly my first boss in Wellington, Bob Hall, who was a very great supporter of NAWIC. When we started up NAWIC, he gave us a spare office and he fitted it out for us, and we'd have our board meetings there, and he was really supportive and very encouraging of me to do stuff for NAWIC and to get out there and kind of encourage more and more women. And lastly, really, I have to include my husband, who's not in construction, but he is my role model. He's my mentor, and he's done a lot for NAWIC as well, helping me and making sure that I've got the time to do what I do for NAWIC. So my husband Mike is a really great supporter of me and of NAWIC. So of course there's untold colleagues who I work with, but I can't name them all. So yeah, that's me.
It is so good. It is really, really hard for us to just pick one or two, right? Because as you go back, you keep thinking about more and more and more. And like you, I've had colleagues, I've had, when I worked a lot in building and fire compliance, there was some guys that I worked with that just really, we just got on and they encouraged. And what I love about celebrating diversity in the workforce is that, we all have value to bring. And I think that's what's really great, is that women have value, men have value. And I think one of the things I'd like us all to finish with, and sorry, I've just thrown this one in there like I do, I'll start the ball rolling, but what's one thing that you would like to encourage men in construction to think about in order to be part of helping the sector be better for gender equality? What's one kind of thing that you'd say? For me, it's really see it as bringing in lots of different diverse value into the workplace, because women bring an energy and a value and experiences that men perhaps don't have. And so it's bringing greater productivity, and we bring a real heart to the work. I'm not saying that men don't, but we bring something that's a little bit different, that caretaker kind of heart model into the workplace. We've talked about it a lot before. And I know that my dad is an architect practicing at 82 and registered. So he's not just flying out there. And he's always encouraged me to do something meaningful and be part of something, regardless of my gender. And he's always had female draftspeople, and he's always had a real balance in the workplaces he's been in. And that's what I've seen growing up, but it's not always the norm for people. So look for that balance and that value, and look for the best people for the job, regardless of gender. Who's the best person to fill those boots? So that's kind of my key little throwaway there. Does who wants to jump in with a final sort of comment, encouragement, word?
Oh, well, I think it's really important to create a community in your workplace where people will feel that they belong. People will want to keep coming back and working there if there's a strong team culture, if they feel that their opinions and their suggestions have been heard, and that the bosses make time to listen to everyone, maybe not just the loudest, but everybody in that diversity of thought. So my kind of takeaway is creating that culture where people just want to come to work and want to be part of that team. I think that's it's really important.
Nice one. Anything from you, Alice? Kat?
Yeah, I've got two actually in the end. So there's a lot of kind men in the industry, and I know that might not be the word that everyone wants to be associated with, but that kindness means making time, checking people know what they're doing, a lot of that belonging, but generally being good people to be around, you know, and that's a strength. Keep that up there, keep being kind, you know, to everybody across the board. And the second one is leadership. So especially when there's an opportunity for role modeling to come along, a lot of women may not jump at the chance, sometimes because it might be like, oh, what's going to go? Is it extra work? Is it blah, blah, blah? You know, all those other things there too. But taking the time and then kind of actively seeking out, and perhaps if you want to get more women in leadership in your businesses, sometimes it's just having a bit more of a talk to them, you know, not just assuming that they're going to go for the promotion role if it pops up, you know. So, and being aware that, that there is that potential there, and maybe you just might need to go looking for it or just encourage it a little bit more, but you'll get some really good results out of that too.
Awesome. Kat?
I really took with it. That's that kindness and that warmth, that it just changes the environment. It creates the loyalty. You want to stay where it feels warm and welcoming, and it's the people that do that. It's not, and it does come from leadership, absolutely, and it also comes from the individual team members buying into those values, and that loyalty from your staff and from your team. They'll stick around for a long time if they feel like that's where they belong.
Yeah, that's
And
so
there's definitely a lot of men in my career that have created that space and really nurtured that style of culture within their teams.
The ones who have trusted you and said, get on and do it, I know you've got it in you, and let you fly.
Yeah, it's so special. That's very cool. So from us to all the men out there, happy International Men's Day. We see you, the ones that are making these differences in our lives and the ones that we get to meet. We're looking forward to meeting you. We always welcome new members to NAWIC, just regardless of gender. Just come along, join NAWIC if you want to, or just see us out, come to one of our events, check us out a little bit. But we just want to do a big shout out to all of you and thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts for your contribution to our lives and our careers. And I know that there's many other NAWIC members out there who feel the same as well. So that's it from us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you when we're next online. Ka kite anō.
Happy International Men's Day.